Stoicism is a school of philosophy that teaches us how to live in harmony with nature and reason, and how to cope with adversity and emotions. It is a realistic but morally idealistic way of living that aims to cultivate virtue, wisdom, and happiness. Stoicism is not a set of rules or dogmas, but a way of thinking and acting that can help us improve ourselves and our relationships with others. It is a practical philosophy that can be applied to any situation, no matter how difficult or complex. However, not everyone shares the Stoic vision of life. There are some types of people who act in ways that are contrary to the Stoic principles, and who can harm our well-being and peace of mind. These are the people that Stoicism warns us about, and that we should avoid or deal with wisely. In this video, we will explore 10 types of people that Stoicism warns us about, and how we can protect ourselves from their negative influence. We will also see what the Stoics have to say about these types of people, and how they advise us to handle them. 1. The complainer. The complainer is someone who is always unhappy with their situation and who blames others or external factors for their problems. They are never satisfied with what they have, and they always find something to complain about. They are constantly whining, moaning, and grumbling about their misfortunes, and they expect sympathy and pity from others. The complainer is the opposite of the Stoic, who endures pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. The Stoic accepts what is outside of their control and focuses on what is within their control. The Stoic does not let external events disturb their inner peace, and they do not seek validation or approval from others. The Stoic is grateful for what they have, and they make the best of their situation. The complainer can drag us down with their negativity and pessimism, and they can make us feel guilty or responsible for their unhappiness. They can also infect us with their bad habits and attitudes, and make us lose sight of our own goals and values. The Stoics advise us to avoid the complainer, or to limit our contact with them. They also remind us that we are not responsible for their feelings or actions, and that we should not let them affect our own state of mind. As Epictetus said, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own. 2. The flatterer. The flatterer is someone who praises us excessively and insincerely in order to manipulate us or gain our favor. They are not interested in our true qualities or virtues, but in our power, wealth, or status. They are not honest or loyal, but opportunistic and deceitful. They tell us what we want to hear, not what we need to hear. They appeal to our vanity and ego, and they make us dependent on their approval. The flatterer is the opposite of the Stoic, who values honesty and integrity, and who does not seek or give false praise. The Stoic judges themselves and others by their actions, not by their words. The Stoic does not need external validation, but relies on their own conscience and reason. The Stoic is humble and modest, and they do not let flattery inflate their pride or cloud their judgment. The flatterer can deceive us and exploit us, and they can make us lose touch with reality and ourselves. They can also corrupt us and make us compromise our principles and values. The Stoics advise us to avoid the flatterer, or to be wary of their motives and intentions. They also remind us that we should not depend on the opinions of others, but on our own standards and criteria. As Marcus Aurelius said, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. 3. The gossip. The gossip is someone who talks about other people's private or personal affairs, often in a malicious or slanderous way. They are not concerned with the truth or the consequences of their words, but with their own amusement or advantage. They are not respectful or discreet, but nosy and intrusive. They spread rumors, lies, and scandals, and they enjoy creating or fueling conflicts and controversies. The gossip is the opposite of the Stoic, who respects the privacy and dignity of others, and who does not meddle in their affairs. The Stoic does not waste their time or energy on idle or harmful talk, but on useful or meaningful actions. The Stoic does not care about the gossip or the gossipers, and they do not let them disturb their peace of mind. The Stoic is silent and prudent, and they mind their own business. The gossip can harm us and others, and they can make us lose our reputation or trust. They can also distract us and make us neglect our own duties and responsibilities. The Stoics advise us to avoid the gossip, or to ignore their words and actions. They also remind us that we should not be affected by the gossip or the gossipers, but by our own character and conduct. As Seneca said, "The wise man will not be angry with the world. He will not count up the sum of other men's sins, but will take account of his own life." 4. The hedonist. The hedonist is someone who pursues pleasure and avoids pain as their main goal in life. They are not interested in virtue or wisdom, but in sensual or material gratification. They are not disciplined or moderate, but indulgent and excessive. They seek instant or short-term satisfaction, and they disregard the long-term consequences or costs. They are slaves to their passions and desires, and they have no self-control or self-respect. The hedonist is the opposite of the Stoic, who pursues virtue and wisdom as their main goal in life. The Stoic is not interested in sensual or material gratification, but in rational and moral excellence. The Stoic is disciplined and moderate, and they practice self-restraint and self-mastery. The Stoic seeks lasting or ultimate happiness, and they consider the long-term benefits or values. The Stoic is free from their passions and desires, and they have self-control and self-respect. The hedonist can tempt us and seduce us, and they can make us lose our reason or our virtue. They can also harm us and themselves, and they can make us suffer or regret. The Stoics advise us to avoid the hedonist, or to resist their influence and allure. They also remind us that we should not be swayed by pleasure or pain, but by reason and virtue. As Epictetus said, freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of one's desires, but by the removal of desire. 5. The tyrant. The tyrant is someone who abuses their power or authority, and who oppresses or exploits others. They are not just or fair, but cruel and arbitrary. They are not benevolent or generous, but selfish and greedy. They do not respect the rights or the dignity of others, but they violate them or disregard them. They are not leaders or servants, but masters or oppressors. The tyrant is the opposite of the Stoic, who uses their power or authority wisely and responsibly, and who serves or helps others. The Stoic is just and fair, and they treat others with kindness and respect. The Stoic is benevolent and generous, and they share their resources and knowledge with others. The Stoic respects the rights and the dignity of others, and they protect them or uphold them. The Stoic is a leader or a servant, but never a master or an oppressor. The tyrant can harm us and others, and they can make us fear or hate. They can also deprive us and others of our freedom or happiness. The Stoics advise us to avoid the tyrant, or to oppose them or resist them. They also remind us that we should not be intimidated by the tyrant or the tyranny, but by our own weakness or cowardice. As Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." 6. The fanatic. The fanatic is someone who holds extreme or irrational beliefs or opinions, and who is intolerant or hostile to those who disagree with them. They are not open-minded or reasonable, but dogmatic and rigid. They are not curious or humble, but arrogant and ignorant. They do not seek the truth or the common good, but their own agenda or interest. They are not peaceful or respectful, but violent or aggressive. The fanatic is the opposite of the Stoic, who holds moderate or rational beliefs or opinions, and who is tolerant or friendly to those who disagree with them. The Stoic is open-minded and reasonable, and they are willing to change their views or admit their errors. The Stoic is curious and humble, and they are eager to learn or improve. The Stoic seeks the truth. 7. The cynic. The cynic is someone who distrusts or despises human nature and motives, and who believes that everything is worthless or corrupt. They are not hopeful or optimistic, but pessimistic and nihilistic. They are not constructive or creative, but destructive and cynical. They do not appreciate or enjoy anything, but criticize and condemn everything. They are not friendly or sociable, but bitter and isolated. The cynic is the opposite of the Stoic, who trusts and respects human nature and motives, and who believes that everything has value and purpose. The Stoic is hopeful and optimistic, and they see the good in everything and everyone. The Stoic is constructive and creative, and they contribute and improve the world. The Stoic appreciates and enjoys everything, and they express gratitude and praise. The Stoic is friendly and sociable, and they connect and cooperate with others. The Cynic can discourage us and demoralize us, and they can make us doubt or despair. They can also infect us with their negativity and apathy, and make us lose our enthusiasm and passion. The Stoics advise us to avoid the Cynic, or to challenge their views and assumptions. They also remind us that we should not be influenced by the Cynic or the cynicism, but by our own reason and optimism. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly, and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature." 8. The egotist. The egotist is someone who is excessively self-centered or self-important, and who thinks that they are superior or special. They are not humble or modest, but arrogant and vain. They are not generous or altruistic, but selfish and greedy. They do not care about or respect others, but only about themselves and their own interests. They are not aware or accountable, but deluded and irresponsible. The egotist is the opposite of the Stoic, who is self-aware and self-improving, and who thinks that they are equal and ordinary. The Stoic is humble and modest, and they recognize their limitations and faults. The Stoic is generous and altruistic, and they give and help others without expecting anything in return. The Stoic cares about and respects others, and they treat them as they would like to be treated. The Stoic is aware and accountable, and they examine and correct themselves. The egotist can hurt us and others, and they can make us feel inferior or resentful. They can also corrupt us and make us adopt their vices and flaws. The Stoics advise us to avoid the egotist, or to pity them, or teach them. They also remind us that we should not be impressed by the egotist or the egotism, but by our own virtue and wisdom. As Seneca said, "He is a great man who is as truly virtuous as he is reputed to be, but he who wishes to be thought so without being so is a wretch." 9. The slanderer. The slanderer is someone who makes false or malicious statements about others in order to damage their reputation or character. They are not truthful or respectful, but dishonest and disrespectful. They are not loyal or supportive, but treacherous and hostile. They do not praise or defend others, but insult and attack them. They are not motivated by justice or kindness, but by envy or hatred. The slanderer is the opposite of the Stoic, who makes true or positive statements about others in order to enhance their reputation or character. The Stoic is truthful and respectful, and they speak well of others and to others. The Stoic is loyal and supportive, and they stand by others and help them. The Stoic praises and defends others, and they compliment and protect them. The Stoic is motivated by justice and kindness, and they wish the best for others. The slanderer can harm us and others, and they can make us lose our reputation or trust. They can also provoke us and make us retaliate or stoop to their level. The Stoics advise us to avoid the slanderer, or to ignore them or forgive them. They also remind us that we should not be affected by the slanderer or the slander, but by our own actions and intentions. As Epictetus said, "It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting." 10. The fool. The fool is someone who lacks good sense or judgment, and who acts in a foolish or irrational way. They are not wise or prudent, but ignorant and imprudent. They are not learned or curious, but uneducated and indifferent. They do not seek or follow the truth, but their own opinions or prejudices. They are not rational or consistent, but emotional and contradictory. The fool is the opposite of the Stoic, who has good sense and judgment and who acts in a wise or rational way. The Stoic is wise and prudent, and they know what is good and what is evil. The Stoic is learned and curious, and they study and inquire about everything. The Stoic seeks and follows the truth, and they use their reason and logic. The Stoic is rational and consistent, and they act according to their principles and values. The fool can harm us and themselves, and they can make us suffer or regret. They can also mislead us and make us adopt their errors and mistakes. The Stoics advise us to avoid the fool, or to educate them or correct them. They also remind us that we should not be annoyed by the fool or the folly, but by our own ignorance or negligence. As Marcus Aurelius said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." This is the end of my text about Stoicism and 10 types of people that we should avoid. I hope you found it educational, motivating, and touching. Thank you for your attention.